don't have subscriptions automatically on? Or just go hit the live button?
If we can do an audio check as well while you pull it up, Dave, I'm gonna start tweeting.
Okay.
Mic check. Mic check.
Hello.
Yeah, mic check.
Yeah, everybody sounds good.
Yeah, we all sound good. Okay, and the visual's good. I'm gonna go ahead and send the tweet out. You guys having a good night tonight?
Bryce, do your mic check again real quick. Hello? Mic check.
Why can I not find it? And I'm the one that has the thing. Okay, found it.
Mic check. Hashtag RIP Gundy.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta get into talking like that, like about that.
Oh, I will. Like I said, I'll be cooking with that. I might have to talk louder. I kind of sound like shit on the screen.
Really?
That was one thing I got told, is that our voices, like me, Adam, and Dave's, all sound very quiet. It's hard to hear.
I can try to turn it up. Hold on, let's see if I can. I think you guys are this one. Can you guys talk for me now?
Yep. Hello.
Just see if that sounds any better while we get this figured out. Sorry for the technical difficult. All right. Link has been tweeted.
All right, mic check me again. Mic check again. You sounded much louder.
Okay. How do I sound? Are you guys like way louder than me, or how's it?
No, you still sound good. You still sound the same.
Okay, that's good. I think I just had you guys down a little bit too much. Awesome. Just hit the retweet. You're gonna shoot it off in the college football chat. Post on Facebook, and we're good to go.
Yeah, I will just make sure to speak louder and clear as well.
Okay. Sounds great. Fellas, we have a great slate this week.
Baby. I know there's some games where I'm like, man, I'm surprised we're not doing that one, but then I'm like, well, those other ones are pressing.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. Okay, let me pull up the chat on my phone this time. And we are. You guys having a good night tonight? All right. I got. You guys ready to go, Bryson and Dave? I'm gonna go ahead and start.
I'm good.
Welcome. Sounds great. Welcome everybody to the We Know Ball College Football Podcast. This is episode 5. We are staying consistent this year, Bryce. That's one thing that we are going to do. Dave keeps us in line. Unfortunately, Adam won't be able to join us tonight, but we do have his responses and picks. So once we get into that, also a graphic will be uploaded again. Shout out to our guy Sketchy, who always makes our presentations for us. A lot more professional with him, so shout out Sketchy. As always, I'm Paul. I'm joined here by my co-host here, Mr. Big Stiggs himself.
Yes, sir.
And my co-pilot for a couple of years now, Mr. Bryce Duke.
What's up?
Yep. So we'll go ahead and get into some of the games. I know me and you can kind of recap a lot of what goes on here. You tell me what you know here, Bryce. Just butt in. We're down a guy this week, so it shouldn't take as long to go through some stuff. But we'll go ahead and go with the Week 4 games recap. So this past week, there were some blowouts. Also, there was a lot of big-name programs on a bye. Ohio State, Bama, Penn State, all on bye this past week. So, and then they had some other big programs like Oregon playing their little brothers this weekend, so we kind of knew the outcome before it happened. Sketchy's in the chat. W, let's go. So we'll go over some of the game recap. Stiggs, a lot of it will be with this. So I'll start out with you. What do you got here? Michigan at Nebraska. Michigan wins 30-27. We all picked Nebraska on the pod. It was a pretty tight game, but Nebraska has not beaten a top 10 or a ranked opponent, one of the numbers, since 2016. I find that hard to believe, but that might actually be true. All the one-loss games Matt Rule had, and I thought it was just a Scott Frost problem, and it is not.
Yeah, I just knew when we all pick one team, one of them's going to be wrong, and we're all going to take the L. And this was the one this week. Matt Rule is now 2-23 versus ranked opponents. Very surprised by that stat because I still rate him pretty highly as a coach.
Yep.
Yeah, when I got to watch this game, man, I'm so surprised that Dylan Raiola was able to have over 300 passing yards because his offensive tackles were an absolute liability. He ended up getting sacked 7 times and was just under pressure, running for his life most of the game. And when Michigan is able to run the ball, it's pretty much they're going to have their way. And they were able to run for nearly 300 yards. They had 7 explosive run plays, which is a run longer than 10 yards. When you let Michigan do that, they're gonna win. Justice Haynes had 149. He's your third leading rusher. Jordan Marshall had 80. Shout out Moeller High School.
Yep.
Both had long, explosive TD runs. Bryce Underwood also had a long TD run. So they're gonna start using Bryce Underwood in the run game. It's gonna help them a lot.
Yeah, and what I hate to think about this team is their identity. The last year and even the year before it, especially with starting a freshman this year, Dave, they're probably going to be a lot better at the end of the season than they are at the beginning.
Right, 100%. And you're going to hate to see that
yeah.
last game of the season, huh?
Right, yeah. Thank you, chat, in here. Okay, next game. This one here. Indiana takes out Illinois 63-10. Now, this was a knockout punch from the beginning. Here's the deal. I didn't rank Illinois. The AP ranked Illinois after losing by 53 points. But I will say this. I still think Illinois is solid. I think this tells me more about Indiana than anything. Holy crap. They are good again. That's the thing. And you guys might disagree with me here, but tell me if this sounds any familiar to you, Dave, especially being in this area. Indiana, this is the analogy I thought of. Indiana's getting the Cincinnati treatment from 2021 to 2020. Everything they're doing it right. Their only 2 losses last year were to the 2 teams in the national championship on the road. They've handled business everywhere else, and yet they still are not earning respect from people because they're not a perennial program. And then they come out and do stuff like this, where if they were a different logo, a different brand, they'd be getting respected super highly. And they're just now getting that bump. I think it's time to kind of stop wondering how legit Indiana is when they've proven it for 2 years now. And that's what Cincinnati had to do to make that 14 playoff. They didn't only make it because of 2021. They had to have that 2020 season that involves them making that push, just like Indiana did last year, to maybe where they can finally start earning respect to peers.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you touched on that Illinois. That you still think Illinois is solid, because I know Bryce wasn't as high on Illinois as me and you were, but I do think Illinois is still a solid team, and it just says more about Indiana than it does anything. I'm really happy to see this performance from Fernando Mendoza, because that is my dark horse Heisman candidate.
Yep.
My man had 267 and 5 tugs, man. Got it going. I also want to acknowledge, to the Illinois point, they were missing 3 starting defensive backs, including their nickel, Xavier Scott, who's projected to be a first, second-round pick in that range. So very tough break for them. Looks like he's going to miss quite some more time. Mendoza fits Curt Cignetti's system perfect. He gets it to Elijah Surratt and Cooper, his other wide receiver, who make really big plays. And I'm really excited to see what Indiana does, and I'm not so excited that they are a team that Oregon has to play this year. So that game just got a whole lot more interesting in my eyes.
Yeah, I'm going to turn you guys both up. I'm getting comments in the chat that someone is really quiet. So I just turned you guys both all the way up. But
okay, sounds good. I'll try and be louder as well.
No, you're good. Whoever they said you were very quiet, Stiggs. I just turned you all the way up in Discord, and then I turned you all the way up in OBS as well. So, guys, let us know if that's any better, please, because he's making some very, very valid points. Um, Bryce, do you have anything you want to put into this game? Because I mean, this is a statement game to me. That's what I get. I mean, this was one of the premier games of the weekend. Indiana came out there, and I think they made a statement.
I would like to say that I don't understand why Illinois was ahead of Indiana in the rankings in the first place. I think Indiana has been the better team. They were the better team last year. They've been the better team this year. And for Illinois to be a top 10 team, I think that's just media and people saying other people's rankings of Illinois being highly ranked. And they're like, well, I guess I got to put them there without actually watching the games. I think Indiana should have been in the place of Illinois if any other team was going to be there. I do think Indiana is a top 15 team right now, and very well could be a top 10 team by the end of the season. Their schedule will favor them for the remaining of the games for the most part. They have a couple of tough games, I believe, with Penn State and Oregon, I believe. But outside of those games, they are looking like a lock to go 10-2 again. And if they do that, I think they have a great shot at making the playoff.
Yeah, I think that you're 100% right. Man, there's something going on with the audio here, guys. I'm sorry. Give me just a second. I hear you guys perfectly fine. Great. Comments are coming in and saying that it's both of you guys are not sounding great. I can see my mic moving the audio output. Let me see. I'm not sure if Sketchy would be available to come into the court or not. He might be too tied up, but he can try to help me out. But
Let's change it up just a little bit. Am I sounding any better at all?
Chat, do they sound any better? See, the problem is you guys sound crystal clear, perfectly fine in chord to me. Like, you guys sound great. Like, it's not quiet at all. Chat, how about Stiggs and Bryce? Bryce, thanks for working with us. I know that you're not able to do it at home, or anything like that. You can tell a little bit in the background, but that's called dedication.
It is.
Yeah. I don't know. Were you saying no, like it didn't fix it or anything? Is that what you guys are saying? Anybody in the chat know Discord really well? That I've never heard of that issue before where you guys sound great to me, Dave. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't think we've had problems the last couple weeks either, so I'm not too sure what it is.
Yeah. Let's see here. I keep going to try talking now and just see if that changes anything. Go ahead, Stiggs. I changed one setting. Let's see if it fixed it. Are you guys talk? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, can you guys try talking real quick and see if it fixed it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Stiggs?
But it's very cold outside.
Testing. It sounds like I'm in a damn cup, bro.
See,
Yeah, it does, unfortunately.
It might be better now. I just changed something from what someone said in the chat. Choose what you're using for your audio instead of default. I just did that. So if you guys can both just talk real quick. Both
Yep.
of you? Yep. Fixed? Okay, we are fixed in the chat, so that's good. Okay. Thank you, chat. Thank you. They're saying it sounds good. So yeah, awesome points, by the way. Shout out to chat. Thanks, Dave and Bryce, for bearing with me there. I don't know how that got changed, but
Do you want me to go over my Indiana recap again, real quick?
yeah, that's fine because they said they couldn't really hear you. Go ahead.
Awesome. He's saying that you're a little loud yourself, Paul. That you could probably lower yourself.
Oh, they are a little loud. I think I'm a little quiet. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna make
Got
this
it.
the same
Yeah.
one. We should be good now.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, just to recap that really quick, what I said on Indiana beating up on Illinois. Mendoza looked great. He's the perfect fit for that offense. They got the ball out quickly. They were able to get pressure. Defense has some dudes. When your best player on defense, D'Angelo Pounds, is blocking a punt and taking it back, it just kind of shows how everyone is bought in. So, yeah, really happy to see that from them. And I still think Illinois is a solid team. Maybe not as high as we projected earlier in the season.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Indiana will get their way back into the rankings in my rankings eventually. I think that they're going to only be maybe a 2-3 loss team, so they're still going to be pretty good. But yeah, we'll move on to the next game here. Oklahoma takes out Auburn 24-17. This game was pretty close down to the wire. There was some controversy in this game about that play. The SEC officiating came out and said that it shouldn't have been allowed. Obviously, our OU friends did not agree with that. But here's the thing for me. I like that it wasn't called. You know what I mean? Like, he never left the field or anything. But also, what they were saying, like, oh, he's just dumb for not seeing that. He's dumb for not seeing that. Well, that's the whole point of the play being designed how it is it's supposed to trick them into not seeing him. Like, that's the point of a deceptive play. But I also agree that it shouldn't have been a call. That's more of a tactical play. Jackson Arnold in this game. Bryce, were you able to keep up with this one at all? The unfortunate news coming out of this one, though, Phil, is John Mateer, broken hand. He's going to be out for a few weeks at least and have to get surgery.
Well, losing a quarterback for a couple of weeks is better than losing a quarterback for the rest of the year. I'll say that. I think Jackson Arnold honestly played great. Like I said, I didn't get to watch a whole lot of this game, but there was a lot of doubters coming to this game about him, especially from OU fans. A lot of people were concerned that he wouldn't be able to complete a forward pass and throw the ball, and I think he did just as good, if not, I think he did just as good as John Mateer did in this game as far as the quarterback battle goes. I think he did everything that, for the most part, Auburn needed to do to win this game. This game could have went either way, honestly, but I didn't get to watch a whole lot of the game. I had to follow a box score of it. And I had to go based on what people told me. But I watched a little bit of the highlights and recap, and Jackson Arnold seemed to play pretty good in this game.
Yeah.
Did they tell you?
Did
they tell you that Jackson Arnold took 10 sacks?
10 sacks. Yeah, I was gonna say 10 sacks.
That is rough.
Yeah. See, that I get it. His numbers do look good, but dude, their inability to throw the ball downfield with consistency is alarming. They were literally just chuck it up to Cam Coleman and go make a play, or chuck it up to Rivers and go make a play. But the OU defense also played outstanding. R. Mason Thomas, he had 4 sacks in the game-ending safety, and he only played a half. Like I said, Jackson took 10 sacks. You cannot be doing that and expect to win the game. I also want to shout out the offensive tackle, Derek Simmons, for OU. He had 0 pressures on 43 pass blocking snaps and was one of the highest graded linemen per PFF this week.
Yeah, definitely. And then the viral clip that comes out of Jackson Arnold leaving the field, where the fans are heckling him, and he's like, "You wish you were me."
Yeah,
that's just adds another part to it.
Real quick, I do want to. It's funny how the OU fans are fine with the penalty, but they were a little unhappy about a penalty non-call at the end of last year, weren't they, Bryce?
I was thinking the exact same thing. And the crazy thing about this is last year they had plenty of time, or a couple of years ago, they had plenty of time to score a touchdown again. And I just find it funny how they switch up real quick whenever it fits their narrative. So
they're not gonna like that, but yeah, maybe we'll talk into a little bit about it a little bit farther down, more about Oklahoma for the next few weeks at least. But next game, Bryce, we went back and forth about this team for the last couple days, and I just want to say that I think the results of this last game just proves my trend is more right for a fall off here. Syracuse dominates Clemson. Clemson comes back in the second half a little bit, but overall, Syracuse absolutely handles Clemson. They fall out of the rankings. Dabo's in the post-game presser saying, "Fire me if they don't want to win." It's just a crapshoot right now with Clemson. I mean, they went from preseason favorites. They were my pick to be in the national championship game to 1-3, losing to Syracuse. I mean, what's next for the Tigers?
Yeah, you got to think maybe a Mike Gundy-esque exit might be on the table if they lose a couple more games. I don't know if they do that to Dabo. I didn't think they'd do it to Mike. So it's kind of crazy.
After week 2 to Mike if they were going to do it.
Right, 100%. just to touch on a couple things on the game, the score was really shouldn't have been as close as it was. Clemson kind of got some garbage points at the end. Steve Angeli, sucks to see his injury, man. Looks like he's going to be out for a long time. Transferred in from Notre Dame. Had a gnarly looking injury, man. Sucks to see him go down because he was kind of taking the reins from Kyle McCord and taking the gunslinger, Syracuse offensive approach. And I do want to quickly shout out Syracuse wide receiver Jonte Cook. He had 6 catches for 116. And he has an interesting career path. He was a true freshman at Texas, looked to be the next big thing. Transfers over to UW due to some off the field concerns. Never plays a down there. Transfers to Syracuse, and you kind of wondered if he ever was going to play again. And ends up showing out for Fran Brown. So shout out to him for turning his career around.
Yeah, definitely. Bryce, you got anything to say about this?
I mean, sometimes the Giants have to fall. They have to go down eventually. You have Clemson falling this year. Kansas State's going downhill. Alabama, Oklahoma State, all these teams that have been super good, they're starting to trend downwards. And I do think a lot of the problems at Clemson is a lot of the same problems at Oklahoma State. You have a very arrogant head coach that refuses to buy into this new era of college football. And whenever you have those problems and everybody's adapting and you're not, you're going to get left behind. And I think that's what's happening at Clemson.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that. Completely hard to disagree with that. I think it's true as well. That we talked about old school versus new school last week a little bit, Stiggs. And it's like the top 7 teams in the transfer portal are 27-0 combined already. And it's a new age of college football, and I think Dabo's a little outdated. He was behind on NIL. He's been very stubborn about the transfer portal, and ultimately in that same time, Bryce, we started to see a decline in Clemson from where they were. But we'll move on to the next game. But go ahead. Did you want to say something?
I was just going to say, yeah, Clemson post-COVID has not been the same Clemson team before COVID. And again, that's right around the same time that the transfer portal started coming into play, NIL started coming into play. That new age of college football kind of started around COVID time, honestly. The second you started paying players and people could transfer without losing a year of eligibility, along with just honestly no law and no rule over it. Right now, it's still kind of like the wild, wild west in college football. You can have players doing whatever they want, whenever they want. Coaches not adapting to this new era of college football they're going to get left behind. Look at all the new teams that have adapted and are throwing money and trying to get the players that they want to get, like teams like Texas Tech, teams like now that you can do it and not get in trouble in Miami. Like these teams are blowing up now without any real consequences at the moment. So I think not being able to adapt to this new era you have to do it. It's adapt or die at this point.
Are you saying that Clemson got vaccinated and now they're not the same?
I mean, that's what it sounds like. Yeah, that's what it is.
I mean, if you guys want to say
just
that,
a joke.
I like to. We can blame the transfer portal and NIL and all that. Personally, I like to believe that we broke Clemson, but I'll just say whatever. There's absolutely nothing behind to support my claim, but I just like to say that was the last game, and then they fell off after they got blown out. But we'll go ahead and move on to the next thing. Little joke there, not as good as Dave's, but moving on to this game, I picked this one wrong. I at least thought it'd be closer than this. Texas Tech.
Let's go.
Beats Utah 34-10. Talk about steamrolling. Texas Tech has been a top offense in the country, and I wouldn't. If you would have told me, last week when we did the pod, hey, Texas Tech's going to win this game, I would have said, hey, okay, that's fine. If you said, hey, Texas Tech's going into Utah and they're going to win 34-10, I would have said, uh-oh. The Red Raiders are here, and they're kicking ass and taking names at the moment. Their offense is unbelievable right now.
So, yeah, and to touch to your point, they went into Utah, won by that score, and their quarterback went out in the second quarter.
Yeah.
So, talk about great performance from Will Hammond. He came in and played some immaculate football. People are even talking about should Morton get his job back. That dude played so great. And to touch on what you said, Utah is typically a team that plays well at home and they play well through their line. And the Texas defensive line and the front seven, really, they just had their way.
Yeah.
I'm hearing some echo a little bit just for a second. It went away. We're good.
Yep. I heard it too.
But so as I'm doing research for this game, looking up at PFF, I have the subscription and stuff. So I'm looking up grades. I'm looking up, what happened. The Texas Tech, their top 10 highest graded players, on the defensive side, the top 7 are all front 7, edge defenders, interior defenders, or linebackers. They're insane, their depth. Skylar Gill Howard, he was a transfer defensive tackle from Northern Tackle. He kind of set the tone interior. He didn't really fill up the stat sheet. He only had 3 tackles, 1 pressure, and 1 batted ball, but he was just in the running lanes, man, letting the other guys clean up, like Jacob Rodriguez, who is potentially my player of the week this week. He had a great game at linebacker. Do want to talk about Jacoby Williams. He's a running back for Texas Tech. He's explosive, man. 13 touches for 113 yards, including a 72-yard grab. And I believe part of Utah's downfall was the O-line didn't hold up, and Dampier just looked labored. Maybe he was a little injured. I believe the announcers were kind of alluding to it, touching on a potential injury. I think that was a case of why Utah couldn't get going.
Yeah, very much so. And I'm going to be the guy that says it. Texas Tech spent a lot of NIL money. But I'm also going to say I don't have a problem with that. That is what they're allowed to do. And it's paying off. So maybe these other teams that want to be cheap follow suit. Sorry, Gundy.
New era of college football wins again.
Yep. Bryce, you got anything to add to this one?
I was going to say, I've been high on Texas Tech last year. I was high on them last year. This year, after the portal class they got, the transfer portal class, they had they had top 10 class in the country. I think even top 5. Like, their transfer portal class was insane. And to see what they're doing right now, I'm honestly not shocked at all. I expect them to go on and be competing for a chance at a playoff spot and for a title this year in the Big 12. I think them, TCU, Iowa State, like, those teams are all teams that are competing at the moment for the Big 12 title and for a playoff spot. But Texas Tech offense is legit. I mentioned it last week how just to be different, I think they're one of the best offenses in the country, and they can compete with anybody at the moment. So until I get proven otherwise, I'm rocking with Texas Tech.
Yeah, they're starting to shoot up the rankings too. It's hard to ignore them. Next game, Miami wins this one 26-7 over Florida. I kind of want to take the reins on this one. Is that all right? I mentioned the score a little bit in the group chat, and I'm going to give Miami a little bit of a pass. Like you said, it's a rivalry game. They also pulled away late. Florida never threatened to win this game. I want to talk more about Florida. So, did either one of you guys watch this game or catch up on it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is the definition of giving up. The preseason hype for Florida, they should be embarrassed. Listen to the numbers from this game, and this is the worst performance of the week, and Illinois lost by 53 points. I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say it. 7 first downs total in this game for Florida. Third downs, 0 for 13. Total passing yards. DJ Lagway, obviously the starter, 61 passing yards in this game. As rushing yards, they finished with 80. They averaged 2 yards a carry. This team, I mean, for the expectations and hype that they had, this is the performance we're getting? 0 for 13 on third down. Combine it with fourth down, you're total 3 for 19 combined on third and fourth down. This offense is terrible. This defense is the only reason they were even partly in this game. I mean, I don't mean to rant here. Carson Beck didn't even do anything. He didn't even throw for a touchdown. Their defense kept them in this game, and they still lost by 20 points because of how sorry the offense was. And I'm not putting it all on Lagway either. This is a joint effort. Guys, 3 for 19 on 3rd and 4th down is never acceptable in a game. 7 total first downs. They had 2 passing first downs in the entire game. This is embarrassing. And Florida's my biggest letdown of the week. And the other team was ranked in the top 10 and lost by 53 points. That's all I got.
Rant over. I do got a couple numbers to throw onto that. So yeah, to touch on how bad Florida was. They're a talented team, and their defense is still solid. Like you said, they played pretty well until the fourth quarter. Florida had the 3rd best pass blocking grade coming into today, and they had the worst pass blocking grade in PFF history since PFF started grading. It was 2.4.
Yeah,
out of 100. Out of 100.
That's giving up,
and
right? Tell me that's giving up.
That's 100% giving up. I kind of touched on that last week. I called this as one of my picks of the week, and said that I thought Florida was kind of going to give up. And to touch on Billy Napier, their one touchdown drive that they have a stud running back. His name's Jaden Ball. He's a big, bruising, physical running back. He averages 5.9 yards per carry. Does well when given their touches. In their one drive, he was a man on a mission, and he ended up finishing it off. And he was one of the, like you said, they had 60 passing yards. He pretty much carried them down the field, took a couple plays off, came back, finished the drive off, and then didn't get touches again. So it's kind of just coaching malpractice. I do want to touch on one positive Florida note. They have a corner, Cormani McLean, high 5-star recruit that transferred from Colorado. Last year he didn't play that much. There was rumors that he wasn't even on scholarship, that he walked on the team, had some off the field issues. He had a really good day. The only pass that was thrown his way, he picked off. Yep. So shout out to him. And the only other thing I want to touch on is Miami's defensive line is probably the best in college football, competing with Texas Tech. They have Ruben Bain Jr., who needs to be talked about in the Chase Young, Myles Garrett level category. He had 10 pressures in this game alone, and he is your highest graded player in the country, 95.8 grade. Throw him in the Heisman discussion.
Yeah, Bain has been unreal all year too, and he has not gotten anything for it. And like you said, this is coaching malpractice. Napier's got to be on the hot seat, on the Gundy hot seat, where you don't finish the season. I don't even mean to make that a trend to say that, but I'm saying, like, what a pitiful performance out of Florida. I mean, they're ranked preseason in the top 15, and this is what we get.
Did you see what Urban Meyer said, though? He says that they don't think they're going to fire Billy Napier because his buyout's like $21 million.
And they're just accepting mediocrity. Not even mediocrity. They're accepting failure. Put it that way. That's how bad I'm going to say it.
Urban said that the money that they would need to come up with is already allocated.
Well, I know who I'm going to pick against every week at this point. Bryce, you got anything to note on this one?
The fall off of DJ Lagway is real. This man had a serious Heisman hype coming into the season, and I almost think I've seen a player fall off harder than DJ has.
First overall pick hype too, man. And he's also seen in a walking boot this week. So he might be shutting down.
And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back here, but I can say that I never bought into the hype because I said that I've only seen him play 4 or 5 games, so I don't want to buy into it. And you know exactly who he reminded me of? Anthony Richardson.
I'm about to say AR5, his predecessor.
Exactly like that. Is it true? We don't get a ton of games, to kind of see how it goes. Ends up the hype isn't always there. Like, that's why I didn't want to buy in on Florida or Lagway before he plays a full season or before he plays an actual, into games, and I don't want to give him that top hype yet. But like I said, I'm not diving into that trying to give myself cookies on it. I'm just saying, like, stuff like this is why I don't like to buy into teams that haven't been there. Buy or sell this week. So, speaking of that, I guess that allocates one thing of what I was going to say. So for buy or sell this week, we are splitting it up. Dave, I was going to say buy or sell the Reds make the playoffs, but I guess that's off the table.
Absolute disrespect. The shade at Adam.
I mean, I'm a big Reds fan too, and that's just pitiful.
Yeah, the second they get it, their destiny in their own hands. Two straight L's to the Pirates.
Yeah. All right. Well, I got one here to start out with. Now we are going to stay on the Clemson train. Um, after last week, Clemson won't even finish in the top 4 of the ACC. Buy or sell?
I'll buy that.
Yeah, I'll honestly buy it too. They might be giving up here. SMU's okay. They still have Florida State, Miami. Looks like it's their conference to lose now.
Yeah. Okay, so that one was relatively easy. I was kind of seeing where we were at on that, but looks like we're all the way off on
Are you
my
buying
question
too?
as we should. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and buy with that. The next one is actually about the Sooners. I talked about this earlier. Ignoring Kent State, which is their next game. The time missed for Mateer, we're looking at, what, 4 games, I think is the average number I've heard. So those 4 games, buy or sell, Oklahoma will win at least 3 of them. And I'm going to name off the games to you. At Red River, at South Carolina, at Tennessee, versus Ole Miss, and if you wanted to go even further than that, their next game after that is at Alabama. But I'm just going to do Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. The only game at home is at home against Ole Miss. Does Oklahoma win at least 3 of those games? Buy or sell that they will?
I think I'm gonna have to. I want to buy because they looked good. Um, Man, this is tough. I'm gonna sell simply because of Mateer, man. I
Yeah.
don't know what Michael Hawkins is gonna look like. Um, I've seen some clips of this dude in practice looking like Kyler Murray,
Yeah.
and then just haven't seen it really ever translate to the game. So I know that there's a boatload of talent in there, and he's, you know, got another year in the program. It's not in the same system though, so he is also going to be, his first year in Arbuckle system. So interested to see how he will look. If he shows that he can play, above average quarterback play, I think that they can go 3-1 in that stretch, but it's still going to be absolutely brutal.
Yeah, and their games following that. Like I said, I'm not going to get into all of them. Say Mateer ends up with a Burrow injury, God forbid. I'm not wishing that on somebody. Do you see how their season finishes after that? Is at Alabama, against Mizzou, and against LSU. Not ideal. What about you, Bryce? Are you buying or selling that, excluding the Kent State game, OU wins 3 out of 4 of those?
I'm going to buy into it as much as I
Whoa!
hate to say it.
Whoa, okay.
OU next week is on a bye. They follow the week up with Kent State,
Mhm.
and they follow the week up after that with Texas. John Mateer's injury, there's a very real chance he could be back by Texas. If he's back by Texas, that's a 50-50 game in my opinion. I even think Michael Hawkins isn't even that bad of a quarterback. I think even if he had to play, he would still put in the work. But in my opinion, I think John Mateer will be back by the time Texas is here. And those games moving forward are still going to be toss-up games. Like, they could go either direction. I do think, however, Tennessee, Ole Miss, I think those teams will have a advantage and will be slightly better than OU. But there's a good chance that they can still win those games. Which game was at home again
Ole Miss.
in that stretch? Ole Miss. So they have to play at Tennessee.
At Tennessee, at South Carolina, and then Red River. See, you must
Yeah,
have a
I mean,
different insider or something, but when I was pulling this up, I saw 4 to 5 weeks as the timetable, but maybe.
That's realistic, but depending on how he heals, he could heal up. I mean, Texas isn't for another 3 weeks. So even if he misses Texas, there's a good chance he's back for those other games. I think he'll be back by Texas, though, just because those hand surgeries aren't that big of a deal. They aren't. They're a pretty typical procedure. It's like getting your wisdom teeth out. It's gonna suck for a couple weeks, but you'll be good after a little bit. So I think, as much as I hate to say it, I'd have to buy that.
I'm going to sell it just because that stretch, I think, with a backup quarterback and Hawkins can be good. I think that they could go at least 2, potentially 3, but I don't feel comfortable enough doing that. Now, buy or sell initially was, and as you guys know, each week, it's an idea based off overreactions or not. Are you buying into it? Something that just happened, right? You know what I mean? So how about this one? Now, this one will be hard for people to buy based on the schedule. Texas Tech will go undefeated this year.
Funny you say that. Fake said just brought that up before the podcast. He said Texas Tech is favored in every single one of their games to end the year.
So are you going to
I'm gonna buy it.
You're going to buy they go undefeated?
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it. I just saw what their backup can do, and Morton seems to be like he'll be coming back. They have an electric running back. Their defense front seven just looked insane, and in the Big 12, that's really all you need.
Yeah, and they also, when you see their schedule, I mean, they have a couple tough games on there, but it's not anything.
I think they played their toughest game already.
That's what I was going to say. They still do go at Arizona State, at Kansas State,
Let me
which I
ask
guess that
y'all.
doesn't mean anything anymore, but then they play BYU. But besides that, I mean,
Yeah, I mean Arizona State and BYU, those are no gimme games. You're not just going to blindly pick them. They're going to have to come. They're going to have to play prepared. But
better
yeah,
than them, I think, yeah.
for sure.
Do you guys think Utah was their toughest game on the schedule?
I
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
it would be, yeah, realistically, and at Utah, I would have
Really?
leaned towards that. Yeah, I'm pretty high on Utah,
I'm not all the
man.
way.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm not all the
think-
way out on Utah yet either.
I think Utah is going to struggle to make a bowl game this year. I think that they are in the kind of the same situation that Clemson or Oklahoma State is in. They haven't fully bought into NIL, and they have the resources to do it. But I'm not fully convinced that Utah is going to be able to compete with some of the teams in the Big 12, along with the schedule they have. And to the answer to the buy or sell question, I'm going to sell it strictly because the Big 12 is so crazy and so wild. I find it hard to believe a team's going to go undefeated in this league, and I think there's a good chance they're going to lose to a team that they shouldn't. Whether I don't know who it's going to come to, but I don't think Texas Tech is going to go undefeated to finish the year, even though that they are. I've been talking high on them. It's funny, I know, but I think they could go 11-1, 10-2. I don't see them going 12-0 to finish the year.
Okay, next one here. How about this one for you, Dave? Illinois will still get to 9 wins this year. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I'm still gonna buy on that. They don't have the most brutal schedule. I don't believe so. Um,
I
They
can tell you
also-
some tough games they got if you want. They play
Yeah.
USC this week at home. They do play Ohio State and they go to Washington. But other than that, they're going to be
They
favored.
also play Maryland.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they do play Maryland later on. But I think they're going to be favored in all of those that we named besides the 2 I just did.
I'd really like this question to be asked after next week, but I know that would make it a lot easier. Yeah, I still think that Illinois is a solid team, but I am picking against them this week. I think USC is a little bit underrated. They got on my radar late, probably because of my biases, being an Oregon fan. But yeah, now that I've looked into them, like they have a really good offense and they're playing well in the defensive trenches, which is not normally a Lincoln Riley strong suit. So to see signs of that is encouraging for that program. And I definitely think they're going to win this weekend. So I think I'm going to sell, actually. I'm going to go back and sell, even though I still think Illinois is a solid team. It's just they're not upper echelon Big Ten yet.
Yeah, I put them kind of on that second tier is where I think of them. Bryce, I'm guessing you're going to sell as well.
I'm also selling. I think they're going to go 8-4 this year. I'm not too impressed with Illinois. I think they're a good team.
That's a good
but
year for
I'm
them.
not. It is. I'm just not super high. I think everybody in the country has been overrating Illinois, in my opinion. Like, they're a top 25 team, but that's all they are, in my opinion.
Which is fun. And we got some comments coming in here. Oklahoma goes 11-1. Watch. Whoa. The OU fans are coming out. What's up, Cloud? Been a while. I'm sure you guys remember him. Players
That's a
of
name
the
I haven't heard
week.
him.
Players of the week. We're going to go ahead and get into it. I do have Adams. I'm going to give him the grace here and let him go first since he did text it. I could make him go last. But Stiggs, you'll probably be able to highlight on this one as well a little bit. Adams Player of the Week. Eric McAllister, TCU wide receiver.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he went off. And speaking of TCU, they are going to be a new team that enters the rankings for me. Bryce was rightly ahead of schedule on them. Had them ranked highly all along. But yeah, he had 8 catches for 254 yards, 3 touchdowns against SMU, in-state opponent. Tougher game than it was expected, honestly. I thought TCU would win by a little bit more. I was a little bit down on SMU, but they kind of showed me something to where the SMU might be able to compete in the American. But yeah, he's a beast, man. I think he's like 6'3", 205. He's got a good build, really set up for a nice prospect in the future for the NFL.
Bryce, who do you want to go with for your Player of the Week?
USC quarterback Jaden Mayava.
Good pick.
He went 20 for 26, 230, 3 touchdowns. He also ran for 30 yards with 2 rushing touchdowns as well, 5 total touchdowns. He was a dog. USC did not cover the spread. They did score 45. And like Dave said, I'm kind of on USC late a little bit this year. I do think that they're going to surprise some people, and they're a team we're going to be talking about way later into the season.
Their offense is elite. That's something normal under Lincoln Riley, but the defense coming on strong. I know that you'll probably have a couple here, but also a comment comes in, extremely common Stiggs W. So the chat's loving Stiggs right now. We got to appreciate that. Player of the week, Stiggs, who you got as your player of the week? And this is not your go to the group yet.
Yeah, my player of the week, I have to go with Mendoza. This is my dark horse Heisman candidate. I was high on Indiana. I think they're going to make the playoff. I said that before the game last week, too, just to put that out there. Mendoza's a dog, man. 21 of 23, 267, 5 touchdowns. And if you watch any of that game, he was just effortlessly making these throws, looking super efficient. So I touched on it earlier. Cignetti picked him out for his offense for a reason. And he runs it perfect. I'm really excited to see what Indiana can do.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised by it. And the guy that I'm going to say, I'm sure if I let you keep talking, you would have been like, oh, well, another guy that would have been mentioned. And that's going to be Ahmad Hardy for Missouri as my player of the week. I mean, this guy has been unreal. And 22 carries for 138 yards, 6 yards a carry, and a touchdown. But the thing about him for me is he's rushed for 600 yards this season. 458 of it is after contact, and he's forced around 37 missed tackles. So that means just on yards after contact, he'd ranked 6th in FBS in rushing yards on just that.
Yeah.
He's completely flying under the radar. Only extreme ball knowers have mentioned him, like our college football chat.
Oh, yeah. This is one of my preseason guys. I tweeted him before the season started. Transferred in from the Warhawks, Louisiana Monroe. Absolute dog. What if I told you that one of my goats of the group is the leading rusher in all of FBS, even more yards than Ahmad Hardy?
Yeah, that's
little tidbit into that.
Yeah,
also
a little sneak peek preview.
Real quick, I did want to mention linebacker Jacob Rodriguez for Texas Tech. He had 11 tackles, tackle for loss, forced fumble, and a pick. Was everywhere for Texas Tech. I didn't touch on him in my recap because he was my honorable mention.
Yeah, very much so.
Can I mention somebody too?
Yeah, definitely.
This is a player I feel like nobody's really talking about. If you guys remember Tommy Castellanos in the early season, he came in to the year talking a whole bunch of crap about Alabama, and he backed it up. This player, he's kind of flown under the radar. He's also he plays for an SEC team, but Diego Pavia for Vanderbilt. They are 4-0. In his most recent game, he went 18 for 24, almost 250 passing with a couple touchdowns, and he ran for 85 yards in a touchdown. He is leading Vanderbilt right now. They are currently 4-0. They are ranked, and there's a good chance that going into week 5 or week 6, they're playing Alabama, and they could be 6-0 playing Alabama. I think Diego Pavia is not getting enough credit, and people need to start talking about him some more.
Yeah, I mean, I thought you were going to go all the way at full circle with that when you started. Pavia has been good. I thought you were coming full circle all around to Buckner. I think that he's played great for Bama down the stretch, very under the radar. And let me see here. We're getting some comments in, Stiggs. Has anyone mentioned Sire Gaines from Boise? He looks electric. Oh, okay. I see your comment.
Go to the group teaser.
I will. Yeah, I will. We'll get into that when we get to it. How about this, fellas? It's time for the upset pick of the week. I still remained undefeated. But last minute, Memphis pulled it off over Arkansas. So I was pretty happy with that. Bryce, how about you go with your upset of the week? Bryce?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yep.
Upset of the week. Oh boy.
If you don't have one, Stiggs, unless you already got it prepared.
Yeah. I have a couple. I have not decided yet. Let me pull these back up.
Okay.
Yeah, so I will go ahead and go then. I like UCF over K-State. UCF, I kind of touched on this last week on the Go to the Group. They beat UNC last week. I told you guys to keep that one on your radar. And that's K-State's just down bad right now. That's going to be my upset pick of the week. I was going to pick TCU over ASU because ASU is actually the favorite in that game. I think that's a layup for you, Bryce, considering how high you've been on TCU.
Yeah, that is. I got a different game though. I was deciding between a couple. But I got one. Whenever it's time.
Go ahead.
I'm taking Oregon over Penn State at Penn State.
I almost picked it as well.
Oregon. No, I feel like nobody's really talking about them. Honestly, we got Dave on the show, and I feel like he barely talks about them at all. Oregon is a sleeper agent. They are here to play. They're a team to be respected and a team to be feared. I should know. I think Jim Knowles' defense is good. I think if Penn State has any chance at winning this game, it will be because of their defense, not because of their offense. Their defense will keep them in this game, and if they don't, then they're going to lose this game. Oregon is well built all around. They got some dudes at every position. They're big, they're tough, they're fast. I like Oregon in this game for the upset pick.
Yeah. Oh, I guess it's only fair I go see what Adam texted for his. Oh, Adam did pick TCU earlier, so
perfect.
Of course, that works out perfectly. For mine, this might be where the streak ends. I've said that the last 3 weeks. You guys might say you're an idiot. I'm going to pick a team that lost by 53 points this week. I'm going to take Illinois at home. They're plus 6.5. They play USC. This is the big noon kickoff game. USC's steamrolling and everything, but I don't want to completely give up on Illinois. They lost by a ton. I understand that. But like I said, I still think they're solid. I think 6.5 point underdog at home is a lot. I think it'll be a tight game. You guys can call me straight out, you're an idiot. That one's wrong if you want. But I think Illinois is still solid, and I'm going to take them at home.
Respect, my guy. Super, super respect. I was honestly considering USC as my lock of the week. So respect to you on that one, honestly.
Yeah, well, I'm sure I'll be messing it up somehow because someone took the first place and they let everybody know. I'm just kidding about that. You did take first place, and Adam won't even let you have it.
Just Facebook. So you know, someone in the chat's throwing 500 on your upset. So, GG's.
Yeah,
if you lose.
Oh, thanks, Chop. That's it. It is.
Oh, it's Chop. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Nick also said, "Is that an upset?" I already told Paul I'm betting Oregon minus 2.5. I'm also taking Oregon this week. So,
I believe it's 3.5. I'm sorry, 3 points Penn State last time I checked.
Yeah. I if you guys weren't going to take it, I was probably going to take that one. But yeah, so that's all of our upsets of the week. Hey, we're just talking ball, you know. We're just talking ball.
I'd like to throw in an honorable mention for the upset.
He said Oklahoma State coming off firing Gundy, they're going to be hot.
No. LSU is not favored against Ole Miss. Ole Miss is favored by 1.5 points.
I saw.
Do you guys agree with that?
Is that the Lane Kiffin effect?
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, that is funny. Yeah, that one was funny. There were a couple other I was looking at too that are kind of maybe I could see that going one way. No one in here took Bama +3. I was wondering if anyone was going to take them. You might as well take them to cover outright if you're going to pick them to win. But yeah, that was really a couple. I go back and forth on these all the time, man. I mean, that picking a straight up upset as your plus money is tough. Well, I think we've done really good on the year on that. So, I mean, there's also a couple other games that I think could have been mentioned, but I think overall we did pretty good on that. Next, I'm pretty sure coming up is going to be our lock of the week. Let me go ahead and get over to that. 1 second.
Dial it up.
Dial it up, dial it up, dial it up. I've done better on upsets than locks. Oh, I'm kidding. Dave, we talked about this. Now, love the throwback slide, by the way, Sketchy. Chat, this is where you guys also can get involved. We've had a super active chat this year, and I really want to thank you guys. I want to give, this is called Age-Old Questions. It could be revolving any part of college football. That's why I wanted to name it this. This doesn't have it to do with anything current. And Dave, you brought up a very great first question while we let the chat come up with some stuff, if it's anything college football related. How about you go ahead and tell Bryce, what question did you ask that you wanted to have involved in here?
Yeah, so this is pretty much 2023 and before. Try to, keep it in the last 20 years. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But in the 12-team, in just the playoff era, is there a team that didn't make the playoff that would have been an absolute menace in the playoff?
Chad, you guys answer this as well.
Just to give my answer quick and let you guys brainstorm on that. I know Paul's probably got a team or two since I told him earlier. And Bryce, you cannot pick 2021 Oklahoma State. The team that I picked first, which was what brought the whole question to mind, was Johnny Manziel 2012, Texas A&M. You would not want to see that team in an elimination format. Mike Evans, Johnny Manziel, man, they had some players on that team. I can't remember the running back's name. I think it was Carlos something maybe. He ended up making it to the NFL as well. They had a couple good defensive players. Also, 2014 Mississippi State, I think, would have been a problem too with Dak. They were actually ranked number 1 at one point, which is insane to think.
They were the first ever team to be ranked number 1 in the college football playoff.
What do you have, Bryce? Do you have an answer for this?
I got a couple.
Okay.
Because, so just to be clear, 2012, the playoff was not implemented yet. That came in 2014.
So you're going to pick Oklahoma State from there?
There are 2 teams I have. I have, bias aside, I do think this is true. 2011, Oklahoma State got absolutely snubbed of a national championship, and that was 100% because of SEC bias. That team had all the accolades. They beat multiple teams that were ranked at the end of the year in the top 25. I think they had 5 or 6 wins over teams currently ranked in the top 25 at the end of the season. They won a conference. They were 11-1. They had everything. They had Brandon Weeden, Justin Blackman. They had NFL talent, offense and defense, led the country in turnovers. They had everything and did not get a chance to play for a title. That being said, you mentioned Mississippi State in 2014. I'm going to say 2014 TCU. I think 2014 TCU had a chance to win the national title, and they were not given the chance. They were absolutely snubbed without a doubt.
Bring it on.
Nick said that in the chat, 2014 TCU. We also had a couple chat members say UGA with the Matt Stafford era, which is a great shout. 2023 FSU got a shout in there too, the undefeated team. Paul, which Buckeye team you picking? 2020, which one? 2018, 2021?
I mentioned it
2015.
Earlier. Yeah, I'm gonna go with 2015, and also I said bring it on, Bryce, because we won the Natty that year. That's why I
y'all won the Natty. TCU was a feared team. They got absolutely snubbed. TCU ended up playing Ole Miss in their bowl game instead, and they beat them 42-3. And now Ole Miss was good that year. They beat Mississippi State. TCU was absolutely snubbed. They should have played. They should have been given a chance for the playoff, and I think they would have played for the national title, if not won it in 2014. People look at 2020 TCU and think, "Oh, that's such a great team." 2014 TCU beats 2022 TCU by 5 scores. It's not even close. Trevon Boykin, that era of TCU offense and defense was just dominating. The fact that they were not given a chance was criminal.
So,
Real quick,
yeah, go
sorry.
ahead.
Since I never talk about Oregon, you're going to give me a chance. I got to throw out
Yeah,
the 2023 Ducks.
Yeah.
They, despite Oregon going undefeated in 2024, I think the 2023 team was better.
Okay.
Bo Nix single-handedly ended Colorado's hype train. The average differential, they were beating teams by like 25 points a game. We lost to the eventual national champion runner-ups Washington Huskies twice by 3 points each time.
Yep.
Just couldn't get over that hump. 6-year senior Penix throwing to NFL receivers, and DeBoer hasn't recovered since. But yeah.
Yeah, which let's keep that. Also, we got a comment on that. Bomber Bo Nix it comes in the chat. Off the 2016 Penn State. Yeah, 2016 Penn State. That's a great answer. That was the Saquon and Mike Gesicki year.
Ooh, yeah.
I got 2 though, and like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to go with 2015 Ohio State as the Ohio State team that I think was the best that did not make the playoff. And it's hard to say that when the 2021 team was so elite at the end of the year, Dave, that we spoke about. But 2015 brought everybody back from that national championship team. And you got to realize 37 members of that 55 or so, however many people it was, made at least a practice squad on an NFL team. And they came back and only lost 1 game by a field goal to the eventual Big Ten champion. A lot of controversy around the play calling in that game. I still remember it like it was yesterday. Ezekiel Elliott didn't get enough carries and everything. That
12 carries.
Yeah, bro, like, come on. What are we doing? They followed it up with a 30-point win at Michigan. Michigan was in the top 10. Then they end up stomping Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl after that. I think that team was just as good, if not better, than the 2014 team. But a team that I'm going to mention that no one else has really said, and it might go against what you said, Dave, I don't think the top 2 teams in college football played for the national championship in 2023. I think the second best team, was going to be Georgia. I think Georgia was undefeated all year, only lost in the SEC championship, played that Florida State team, won 63-3. And people might call me a hater. I almost think that they were better than Michigan that year, and they didn't get the chance to prove it. Their only loss ends up being to Alabama in the SEC championship game. I mean, I don't think that was fair to them, and they go out and win by 60. Absolutely snubbed. Ohio State that year only had 1 loss, but I still think Georgia should have been over them.
Yeah, and if they somehow got UW, Khalil Ringo would have locked up Odunze, and their front 7 just would have went insane.
Yeah, I mean, that team isn't much different than the 2 teams that were predecessors to it. You know what I mean? It was a lot of the similar people. I think that team is maybe the best team that's ever been snubbed. Nicholas, that's a good shout as well. Sadly, Michigan in 2016 was really good as well. They only missed because that one, JT was short, stupid thing that's been proven wrong countless times. But no, these are really good shouts, guys. Really good shouts of teams that just didn't make the playoff. I got one here, and you guys might disagree with me. Now, I'm not going to say they were a menace, but I think they could have won a game or 2. I'm going to go with 2019. Was it 2019? 2018, Wisconsin. They were undefeated all the way until the Big Ten championship and ended up losing to Ohio State and didn't get in and won their bowl game by about 30. Yeah, I know it's given the Big Ten West and everything, but Wisconsin in that time period was a pretty good team, and I think that they were pretty solid. They were a shoe-in to make the playoff as long as they won the Big Ten championship, and unfortunately for them, they did not. But are there any other questions? What about teams to never win a playoff game? First instantly comes to mind, I'm thinking some of those Oklahoma teams probably.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Those Baker Mayfield Oklahoma teams.
Yeah, I don't have too much to add on that one, but it's pretty true.
Do we think like the Oklahoma team that didn't win teams that never win a playoff game? I
Nah,
think
they
Oklahoma's got to take that one home, right?
They made the playoffs.
for
They lost it
sure.
4 times. That's kind of criminal out of their part.
Yeah.
Texas won a more recent playoff game than Oklahoma.
Yeah. Would we give Adam his shout? We know he'd be talking about his Bearcats right now.
Yeah, was it 2021 UC
Yeah.
when they played Georgia in the Peach Bowl?
Yeah. So they played them 2020, and then they ended up playing Bama in the playoff. Yeah, the following year.
Okay, it was 2020. Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, those are. Is there any other questions, guys, before we move on? I kind of want to, since we've had a really interactive chat, we're looking at around 10 or 11 viewers each time, and the views. I want to thank you guys, all of us here. You guys help us keep going. The viewership's been great on the podcast. If there's any other questions that come up, just go ahead and ask. This is probably going to be a reoccurring segment here. Just speaking on history in college football, I have a couple other big ones that I want to add in the coming weeks, fellas, that are going to be a rabbit hole, I would probably say, and deserve their own topic for about 15 minutes or so. So we're going to move on from this and really get into it. The other ones I'm going to be talking about voted championships, stuff like that. Like where do we really draw the line? Stigs, it's time for your goats of the group of 4.
Let's go. Let's go. I think it's G5 now, but
Is
whatever.
it G5? Is it?
I always get confused. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the G5 and the P4. But
oh, okay. My bad. I apologize. Shout out
none,
the American Conference, man. That's an exciting race this year.
dude, hey, I love the American Conference. I love the G5. This is what I live for, college football. And people got to give this group some love because there is some talent here. And a lot of these players that you see on this list might be at bigger schools next year, might be at your school. So keep that in mind. Yeah, we'll go ahead and real quick before I get into the GOATs, touch on a couple good games from last week. We had North Texas pull off a crazy overtime win against Army.
My lock.
That was your lock, baby.
My
Backdoor
1.5,
cover all the way.
Never a sweat.
Um,
Go ahead. Yep.
So I found a couple fun nuggets about this game. So Mean Green true freshman running back Caleb Hawkins, he had 14 touches, 113 yards. He is their highest ranked recruit ever. He is a borderline 4-star. He was a composite, a 3-star, but he is their highest ranked recruit ever, and it's already paying dividends. That dude was lightning in a bottle with his touches. North Texas very close to getting ranked.
Yeah, I'm pretty high on them. I think they're really good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then we kind of touched on it earlier. Memphis beat Arkansas. Arkansas has choked away a couple of games late recently. Their quarterback, Brendan Lewis, had a really solid game, 200 passing yards, 100 rushing with 3 total touchdowns. We touched on UCF over North Carolina already, which is a good win for them. Be on the lookout for them next week as well. Now time for the GOATs of the group. Start off with honorable mention. Louisiana Tech, big tight end, Eli Finley. Big boy, 6'6", 250. He had 6 catches for 155 against Southern Miss. Louisiana Tech didn't score in the second half, but they didn't need to. They were able to hold on to the dub 30-20. This was a guy I wanted to shout out earlier when I made my little comment about rushing. This is UTSA running back Robert Henry Jr. He has 21 rushes for 144 yards, 2 catches for 76 yards, 2 total touchdowns, and he is your leading rusher in the NCAA.
Wow.
And you wouldn't really believe that with the season Ahmad Hardy's having, but yeah, Ahmad Hardy is number 2.
Shout out UTSA and the Roadrunners.
Oh man, I love the Roadrunners. They're one of my favorite G5 teams, guys. You got me all messed up now.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I always pick them in my dynasty for CFB. They're like one of the first teams that I pick. And shout out Nick in the chat earlier. He kind of brought this guy up earlier, but this is the GOAT of the week, man. Boise State running back Dylan Riley. Oh no, I'm sorry. It was Sire Gaines that he brought up.
Sire Gaines, yep.
Let me just check and make sure I didn't write down the wrong guy.
Yeah,
because Boise State.
Sire Gaines, it's crazy because people are starting to question if Ashton Genty's a system running back at that point.
That's hilarious.
I saw those comments and it's funny. I loved how mad Nick Saban got I loved how mad Nick Saban got mad at Shane Gillis saying SEC teams paid players. Oh yeah, he did get really mad. And we're getting a lot of love on the segment. W segment coming in for you, Stiggs. This is great. Nick said I might have said the wrong name, is what the comment he just said. He
Yeah,
said,
so I did have a Boise State running back, and it wasn't Sire Gaines. It was Dylan Riley. That's who I see on my notes, and I just double checked it. I'm seeing a PFF tweet that's validating his 21 touches, 255 yards, and 5 touchdowns. It's definitely hard to get that performance mixed up, so I'm gonna go with Dylan Riley locking in that solid performance for Boise State over Air Force, and they needed every bit of it. That was a very close game. And then really quick, just next week to touch on a couple games and a brief disclaimer. When you're watching some G5, just because a team's record early in the season is like 2-2 or 1-3, it may not look appealing on the eye test, but a lot of those G5 teams played a P4 team or two just to get their money up, and they're still going to be competing for their conference at the end of the day. So if you see a 1-3, 2-2 matchup, and I might not turn that on, it's still going to be a good game. It still could be a good game. The games I wanted to shout out are Tulane versus Tulsa. Both have had upsets this year. Boise State versus Appalachian State. Both two teams that are always on the upper echelon of their conference. I think of them as higher G5 teams, higher tier G5 teams. And then South Alabama versus North Texas. And South Alabama is 1-3, but they played Auburn. They played a tough schedule. That's going to be an interesting game. And then to round it off with some action, Bowling Green versus OU. We always love some Ohio love in this show.
I was going to mention
two teams
them, bro. I was going to mention
Yeah,
them realistically. I like how you said it. I think Ohio's going to win the MAC again. I think they're actually pretty good.
Yeah, and these two teams are always battling for the top of the MAC. So always interesting to see those games. And a lot of them are always on Thursday or Friday night, so it's fun to catch those games.
Yeah, we got a comment from Nick in here. What you know about sitting at the bar watching #Maction? He said Trev and I at Velocity. They were doing that Saturday. I can confirm that they were sitting at the bar watching Maction on Saturday. So everyone loves this segment, Stig, so keep it up.
WW.
Next up, we do have our rankings here. This is a segment we kind of just talk about a little bit. What are our big movers and everything? I dropped Illinois out. I think we all did, right? Rightfully so. Looks like it. Any big movers or anybody new that you want to mention on yours? I still have South Florida at 25. I was really close to ranking North Texas there, to be honest with you, with how they've been playing. But big movers. I moved Indiana all the way up into 8. Say what you want, but I think they've earned it. And they're not too far behind in yours either, so they're relatively around the same spot.
Yeah, no, I respect it. You're putting them on the same level as respect as some of these other Big Ten teams, so I really don't mind it at all. I do want to touch on the front of mine, the top 10 of mine. I did some, not drastic, but I did some rearranging just a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I undervalued Georgia's initial win against Tennessee. Bar Ohio State, Miami, I think they have the best win right now. They look really good, and I think that they're the best team in the SEC. I'm picking them over Bama this week. Spoiler. OU, they've played a really good schedule. Mateers look great. And I'm ranking a lot based on resume. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
For projecting forward, might have to drop them just because of their quarterback, like if it's a power ranking.
Yeah.
I almost dropped LSU behind Oregon and Penn State just because Oregon and Penn State haven't played anybody, but, to the eye test, they looked good. And LSU's wins have just looked worse every week. Florida keeps losing. Clemson keeps losing. So I'm trying to weigh not punishing them for playing those games because they looked initially tough on paper. Obviously, they have to play Florida, but I'm not trying to punish them for playing an out-of-conference tough game and winning it.
Right. But I want you to be real with yourself here for a second, Stiggs. Oregon's look like a top 2 team in the country. They've earned it, and they have been dominant in every facet of the game, like Denzel Washington says. Like, Oregon, to me, is on the same tier that they were last year, at least at this point. They didn't look like they missed a step. If anything, they might be better, which we talked about that. Dante Moore has been unreal. They are not playing tight games. They're doing everything they should. I think they win this weekend. Penn State has had those slow games. The LSU resume, I don't want to bump them as much. I'm not punishing them, though. I mean, I still have them sitting at 4. LSU at the end of last year was not a top team. I'm going to trust Oregon, who was a top team, now that LSU's best wins are starting to look weaker. I'm giving the Ducks their credit. They're a top team. They're a favorite to me.
I respect it. I just I don't want to be biased, and I obviously don't think it is if you're saying that. But at the end of the day, Oregon has not played anybody. And no disrespect to Oklahoma State or anybody, that game looked a lot better when they scheduled it 10 years ago. 10 years ago, that game looked, ooh, that's going to be a prime time out of conference game. Fortunately, it didn't shake out that way. Also, Oregon, I don't think they've looked as complete on the defensive side of the ball. Their wins, yes, have been dominant, but at the end of last year, they got gashed by Penn State, still ended up winning that championship game, and then they got gashed by Ohio State, mainly on the ground. Obviously, everyone highlights the plays from JJ and the receivers, which obviously were prevalent, but they were getting gashed on the ground. Travion had big play after big play. Quinshawn was getting 7 to 10 yards almost every carry. They made an emphasis to try and fix that. And yeah, we won 38-7, but the one drive that Oregon State had, they just kept running the ball. Northwestern, yeah, you take away a 70-yard run, and yeah, their run numbers don't look so great, but they had a 70-yard touchdown run at the end of the day. And I was just reading Nick's comment in the chat. He says Tennessee is underrated. I kind of agree with that. I think I might have them a little too low in my rankings. They should have won that game against Georgia. They missed a field goal, college kickers. But yeah, no, it's just my take on Oregon. If they win against Penn State, I will most likely move them to maybe number 1. Maybe number 1, but probably number 2.
Yeah, I just wanted to say because, like I said, and I'm a big believer in Lanning as well. That's the thing. Like, yeah, the run plays here and there, and obviously you know more about Oregon than I do, but I'm just going to give them credit for losing as many players as they did and not dropping, and they're not looking like how Texas looks right now. You know what I mean? Like, there's other teams that lost a lot. I'm going to give them credit for it.
And that's why I have Texas where I have them.
Yeah,
I dropped them all the way down to 10.
Yeah, and then we got a comment coming in. Where do you guys rank Oklahoma without Mateer? I guess we just have to wait and can't let that affect their ranking until they play. Yeah, I guess
exactly.
It depends on where Hawkins is at when he takes the field.
Right.
Tennessee is underrated. They're a top 5 offense. Also think Washington should be ranked. Not saying that because they play Ohio State. They're currently the number 2 offense in the country. I was thinking about sneaking Washington in there. I'd probably have them as a top 30 team, maybe around 30, but not 25. Like I said, it's hard for me to rank teams high that weren't ranked high previous seasons. So that's my reasoning why I don't have them there. I also respect the home win streak. Trust me, I've heard about it all week. It's been the only thing I've heard about all week. But I have them just outside the rankings. Obviously, if they win this week, they'll get in there. But they haven't played anyone worth the damn either at all this week.
I was about to say, let me come into the hater mode real quick. Yeah, don't get me wrong. They've looked super efficient, and they all Damon Williams, Jonah Coleman, and Denzel Boston, their quarterback, running back, wide receiver trio, they're all top 5 P5 ranked. Top 5 PFF ranked players at their position. So they've been performing super efficient, but their strength of schedule is 133rd in the country. Their 3 teams that they played are 1-5 against FBS teams. So they play OSU Saturday, and that will be the test of where they are.
Hopefully I'll be with you for that one, Stiggs. We will get into it more. Bryce, do you have anything you want to highlight on her?
Not really, no. I do want to say that I think without John Mateer, Oklahoma is still a top 25 team. I think people are doubting Michael Hawkins Jr. I think he's still a very solid quarterback, but only time will tell. Like I said, they have a bye week this week and play Kent State. If he comes in against Texas, I think he could light Texas up. And depending on what happens this year, if John Mateer decides to stay or leave, if Michael Hawkins goes to another program, I think he could be a dog anywhere.
And you said I think they're underrating I think people are underrating how good Oklahoma's defense is. Even how bad they were last year, their defense was still a shining point of their team, and they had a very miserable offense. A team led by Brent Venables is going to have a good defense, or at least have a good defensive mind on the game. That should be their specialty. This isn't Lincoln Riley. Oklahoma should be able to still stay in games, is how I would say.
I agree with that.
So now we got our Week 5 preview. By the way, guys, what a slate we have for this one. Adam's not here. I put the first one on here. I was going to let him take it. It's not UC Iowa State as much as I wanted to troll him this week. Stiggs, you know I keep getting up with that. But, Bryce, if you have to go at some point, that is okay too. So, I know you're living on low battery right now. But, chat, by the way, when we pick these games, we want you guys to go ahead and pick them as well. We're going to start out, I'll go ahead and say it, and give you the current spread via CBS Sports while we have it. So, Stiggs, first game we're going to go ahead and talk about is going to be that UC game. This is a big game for UC. I wanted to put Adam's game on here. Kansas sneakily good again this year. People aren't realizing they ended on a hot streak. They got a loss at Missouri. That's all they have, and it was a 35-31 game until, a broken play that under a minute and a half left. They're coming off a 31-point win against West Virginia. They're at home. Cincinnati on the road right now, plus 4.5 though. Over under 56.5. That sounds like they are expecting a lot of points. The Bearcats 4.5-point underdogs as they go to Kansas.
Yeah, so Brendan Sorsby is only your third highest ranked PFF passer now at 92.1. But I'm interested to see how the UC defense interacts with the Kansas offense. They kind of run, read option, misdirection, motion style offense. They have a good running duo. Jalen Daniels is a running quarterback with Daniel Hickshaw Jr. as their primary running back. And they're a formidable duo. They average about 6.5 yards per carry. So I'm interested to see how UC defense deals with that. They did pretty well against Dylan Raiola in the Fighting Nebraska Cornhuskers when they played them. So I'm interested to see how they match up, but it is at Kansas. It's a coin flip game for me. But it being at Kansas, I'm going to take Kansas, and they're giving a couple points too. So
yeah, it's like I said, it's 4.5 right now. So as much as I hate to say it, give me Kansas by a touchdown, Adam. Chat's coming down Kansas to cover as well. 4.5 is a super tight spread. If this game was at Nippert, I think I would probably lean the Bearcats. But this is the first game really to see where UC's at this year. You know what I mean? Like this is a big deal, big game. Kansas isn't just a slouch. So, Bryce, taking Kansas.
I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bearcats.
Oh, okay.
I am not a believer in Kansas. They've been winning, but I think they are a little bit overhyped. People see that Kansas has started winning again. They started doing good and scoring points. But I'm still not too high on it yet. I'm honestly more bought into Cincinnati than I am at Kansas at the moment. I think Cincinnati has done more and proven more. Both of them have close losses against non-conference opponents, and both of them could have won their games against their non-conference opponents. But I am, at the moment, more bought in on Cincinnati than I am on Kansas, and I think Cincinnati will win this game.
All right, you're not the only one. Sketchy in the chat also picking UC. So we got a pretty even split there. Next game, we're going to go to LSU at Ole Miss. So SEC battle here. If you guys know about the Lane Kiffin stuff going on, take the over. That's what he said. Speaking of that over, it's 54.5. This is a 3:30 kick on ABC. Ole Miss favored at home, -1.5. LSU at Ole Miss. Stiggs, why don't you start us off here?
Certainly. Yeah, I'm going to take I was going to take the Fighting Lane Kiffins, but I don't think I can do it, man. I don't think I can do it. I'm a believer in LSU's defense. I do want to touch, I think Trinidad Chambliss is taking over the starting job. His past 2 weeks that he's played in relief for Austin Simmons. He's had 660 pass yards, 171 rushing yards, 5 big-time throws, and 106 yards after contact. The dude is an absolute playmaker. Very interested to see how he fares against a very, very talented LSU defense with Mansour Delane, Harold Perkins, Whit Weeks, and all those guys that run around and make plays.
Especially highlighting Whit Weeks.
Weeks.
So, yeah, I'm going to say shout out to Smiles here. I'm going to take Ole Miss, and I think they're going to cover. And this is just a tight game. I don't really. This game's a toss-up for me. Tight SEC matchup. LSU might be getting slightly overrated now that their wins are starting to fall apart. I'm not punishing LSU for that. It's just they earned their ranking, but I might be taking a step back on how much I was being sold on them by those wins. That's all I'm going to say. And I'm going to go ahead and take Ole Miss to cover the 1.5, obviously. Might as well take that. I got Ole Miss here by a field goal or 4 points, something in that range. Maybe like a 24-20, something tight like that. I spoke about Ole Miss's quarterback last week, and he did play good again. I feel like I always am going to butcher his name, but I'm not meaning to. It's their quarterback is Trinidad Chambliss. Chambliss? I'm not sure. I'm sorry.
Chambliss.
Chambliss. Okay, but yeah. So I'm going to take Ole Miss and the Rebels here. Nick coming in LSU money line. Bryce.
Coming into the season, I had LSU in the championship game. I am so high on LSU. I'm a believer in them at the moment. Honestly, they haven't done anything to disprove me otherwise. I'm taking LSU to win this game.
Okay. Chat seems to be a lot on LSU, so I guess I'm kind of riding the Lane Kiffins here by myself. Next up, Washington Huskies and Ohio State. Ohio State at Washington. This line is currently 7.5 for the Buckeyes here, Stiggs. This is a 3:30 kick. Not used to those. So there's actually going to be games before mine. Not used to seeing that at all. But over under 52.5. I'm going to go ahead and let you go first since you have more experience with Washington than me. And just get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, tough matchup for Washington, I think. I know there's a lot of. I think that line started at 13.5, and it came all the way down to 7.
Yeah,
that's an insane drop. There's a lot of belief in Washington. Again, Damon Williams, he's an explosive runner. He has 13 runs of 10 yards or more. And he'll have to continue to make those plays with his legs to beat OSU. I just don't see that happening with how good the linebacker core has been playing. Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles. You even have Caleb Downs, who I know he's a safety, but he's pretty much a rover. You know what I mean? He goes wherever he wants, and he's always making plays. I do want to shout out Caden Curry and Kenyatta Jackson. They have really good pass rushing grades.
Yep.
They're going to need to be on their P's and Q's in regards to containment of the quarterback. Because if they leave some lanes for Damon, he's going to take them.
Yep.
I also want to shout out Julian Sayin. He has not been getting nearly as hype as all these other quarterbacks like Mendoza and Dante Moore and Bo Prabula and all these other freshmen that are getting hype. Julian Sayin is your highest graded QB on throws 20 yards down the field. Large part of that is due to his ball placement. 82.3% of his throws are accurate, and that's number 1 in college football by 9 points. And you wouldn't guess who's behind him. It's Haynes King, which I wouldn't believe.
Wow.
But yeah, Sayin's not been getting hype, and I know he has an allotment of weapons and a great offensive line and a good run game and all that stuff, but he's making the throws necessary early in his career. Shows good signs of promise. I am interested to see how he fares in his first big-time away start. Yeah. I'm picking Ohio State, by the way, cover.
Yeah, me too, and I think I actually want to change this to my lock of the week, but I don't know if you guys are okay with me taking my home team for that lock of the week. But it's 7.5.
No.
I'm hammering that. I think
we encourage it. Yeah, I like 11 to 13 points in that range.
Me too. It's funny you say that. Nick comes in with a score 33-21 OSU is what he says in here. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. Here's my thing for me with this game. I've heard all week about the home streak. That's great. That's awesome for Washington. Not losing in 2 years in Big Ten play. Because another team beat them at home that they always fail to mention, Stiggs. Washington State beat them at home. They like to say the longest Big Ten streak, and there's a reason they say Big Ten streak and not just streak. Washington State beat them at home. Obviously, this environment and the atmosphere is going to be crazy, right? Well, it was them. It was Washington State, right?
Yeah, it was them, but it was technically at the Seattle Seahawks Stadium, so that's why they don't count it.
So that's why they don't count it. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Their big three trio on offense is fantastic. They're all, Williams, Coleman, Boston, all awesome. Here's the deal that I'm struggling with. I'm worried about their defense to match up in the corners against Ohio State receivers. Carnell Tate has been phenomenal. Also, JJ's been JJ. But Carnell Tate is really emerging. His draft stock is starting to rise, and he's been great. Max Clare has not had a breakout game yet, but the one guy who I want to note who's taking RB1 reps, definitely Bo Jackson. No, not that Bo Jackson. Lamar Jackson. No, not that Lamar Jackson either. His name is Lamar Jackson. He goes by Bo Jackson. True freshman. He has been great, dude. He's, no offense to Donaldson, no offense to Peoples, they've been okay. He has taken it by storm. Ryan Day said we're going to start giving them as much as he can handle. The only reason why he wasn't getting the starting reps is because he's still developing pass pro. He wasn't having to do that in high school at a high level when he's the main star on their team. Is what I was reading up on. Watch out for Bo Jackson with the O-line. I think that the biggest matchup in this game for Washington is going to be more on their receivers versus Ohio State DBs. They have a really good receiving core. I think it's pretty solid. Can they contain Williams? I think Caleb Downs is going to spy, but also I could be wrong. This could be just like the Oregon game from last year. I don't think it will, but I just don't see our defense giving up a lot of points. I know Washington's the number 2 offense, but I haven't seen a team really put up a lot of points in a while on the same type of defense that we've been playing. And the same guys are there. Styles is there, and Downs is there. Those guys are all returning from last year. Even in that playoff run, the most points scored was 23 points, and then Texas this year scored 7, which obviously their offense hasn't looked that great either. But I mean, Patricia makes you work for it. And I don't see Washington scoring more than 21, 24 in this game. And that's really my reasoning, is why I think Ohio State's going to win and cover.
Yeah, I really couldn't agree more. I think that Washington has the ability to make some plays, but just not enough to get it done at this stage.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page with that. I also did want to note it is the lowest spread between a number 1 team and unranked team in, I think, since 2014, 15, one of those. So I don't know. I'm taking that as my. I'm gonna take that as my lock though. I'm feeling pretty confident on it. A lot of people have been worried on Twitter and everything. And Dave, I've been sending you all the Washington stuff. It's funny, every time I send Dave a tweet from a Washington fan, he's like, I already have that account muted. Already have that account muted. Already have it muted. I don't know, they're saying some crazy stuff, but yeah, Bryce, you got anything to say about this?
Not really. I think Ohio State's going to win. I also don't disagree. I think they're going to cover as well. Probably by 2 or 3 scores. I can't imagine a world where Washington plays this Ohio State team anywhere close to a fourth quarter game, so I'm going to take Ohio State.
Yeah, I think it's starting to shy some people away with the OU, like the Ohio University Ohio State game, last game played, but Ohio State moved the ball really, really well in that game, and they had no issue stopping them on defense besides one broken play that was missed tackle and gone. But besides that, they were outgained, and I saw a lot of Washington fans say that, like, they only scored this. It's like, kicked 3 field goals within the 5-yard line. So, I mean, that doesn't help. Ohio State had nearly, 600 yards of offense still. So, if they can move the ball fine, I'm really not too worried about it. I'm going to save your game for last, Dave, because I do think that is technically the best game on the slate. It has to be. And I'm going to save the Bama-Georgia game for after that. We'll go ahead and go with Texas A&M and Auburn. Shout out Chop for updating his stuff. Need Ennis to step up, or I think Milan should get those snaps. I agree with you. Brandon Ennis has been underperforming. So Mylan Graham might be the next guy to get those snaps, or Noah Rogers on that. But we're going to go ahead and go to Texas A&M and Auburn. This is Auburn at Texas A&M, 3:30 kick. Texas A&M favored by 6.5 at home, over under 52.5. We can kind of breeze through the next two here, guys, and get to the big ones. I know we're running a little bit late tonight.
Yep, I'll go super quick. Not believing in Auburn after last week, and they need to find a downfield passing game. They need to find it soon. Keldrick Falk has been doing well, keeping their defense alive, but I think A&M has too many weapons. It seems like Marcel Reed is locked in. They have Mario Craver, best slot receiver in college football, 443 yards, 4 touchdowns. I think we're going to look back at the Notre Dame game and say this is the moment Texas A&M turned the corner and became a upper echelon SEC team.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take A&M as well. Chat's also coming in with A&M. I think they're really good this year, and you kind of hit the head on the nail, especially with this game being at College Station. I'm going to go ahead and take Texas A&M. Chop comes in with an Auburn upset. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility. I'm not going to say that, but it should be a pretty tight game. It's a reason it's on the slate here. But Chop says throw 5 on that money line. I was kind of thinking about taking it, but I'm going to go ahead and go with A&M.
I'm mad at it. It's definitely a world where Auburn controls the game, is able to run the ball and wins.
Yeah, and then we do get a comment coming in. Stiggs is a living W. I mean, you're just a fan favorite, man. Just a fan favorite.
It's just Nick gassing me up. Love to see it.
Bryce?
I feel for Auburn here. Having to play back-to-back weeks, away games at OU and then at Texas A&M, that's a pretty rough little stretch there. I think the emotion going into the OU game, Auburn's going to carry that over into Texas A&M, and I don't see a world where Auburn's going to come out and, I mean, maybe they can keep it close, but I feel like they're going to just be let down because they put everything they had into that OU game, and losing the way they did, that was just heartbreaking for them. So I'm going to take Texas A&M to win this game. I do think if they would have beat OU, this game would be different. But I think the momentum is just not on their side right now, and it's hard to build momentum after a loss. So I'm going to take Texas A&M to win this game.
I think I want to flip my pick, actually. I'll be honest with you. I'll go in A&M. I kind of forgot that Auburn won that Week 1 game at Baylor, and Oklahoma was their first loss. I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Maybe I lose ground, maybe I gain it, but I'm going to have Auburn bouncing back. And by the way, you talked about their 2 games in a row where they're on the road. By the way, how about this? At least they get to go home for their next game. Yeah, by the way, they play Georgia, so congrats.
Yep.
But I'll switch it up, actually. I was going back and forth 50-50. I don't want to all pick the same game. We all know how that ends up. USC at Illinois. I put this one on here. This is a ranked matchup, top 25 teams. I did pick Illinois for my upset of the week. But they are at home, plus 6.5, over under 60.5. This is the big noon kickoff this week. This is a very high over under Sticks. I'm going to take Illinois to bounce back, and I think you're taking USC.
Yeah, I was close to having this as my lock of the week. First round prospect Xavier Scott's going to be missing more time for Illinois. I said that earlier. And Jacoby Lane and Mekhi Lemon are probably just going to have a field day. The Illinois, they play a really blitz heavy man coverage style of defense. And Lincoln Riley's going to have a game plan for that. Probably similar game plan to what Signetti had last week. Illinois' O-line has also been very bad. They have a 40% pressure rate on passing downs. So if they pass block better, I do think they have a shot to pull off that upset, but I'm going to take USC, and I'll take them to cover.
Yeah, I want to see USC tested realistically. That's the main thing, because they haven't yet. That's really the only thing holding me back on them a little bit. And also, I'm worried about their defense a little bit still. It's been better. They gave up 31 points to Michigan State last week, gave up 20 to Georgia Southern. They played a decently tight game with Purdue, but overall, USC definitely has looked a lot better, and it's an upset for a reason, but I just want to see more of them actually get tested against a decent team, is how I'm feeling on that. Bryce?
Like I said before, I'm not a believer in Illinois, and playing USC this week after playing Indiana, again with the momentum thing, I just think it's going to be too tough for them to compete in this game. I'm also a big believer in USC now. Like, we talked about biggest jump earlier. USC was my biggest jump. I put them from unranked to 21 on the rankings. I think that they're a team that's going to start. We're going to start talking about them more as the season progresses, and I'm just a big believer in what USC is going to do. So I'm going to take USC over Illinois.
All right. Next one. Not yet. We're going to keep edging you. We're not getting to the Oregon-Penn State game yet. We're going to edge you on that. We're going to go ahead and go to the SEC game, which, wow, what a crazy game this is. We all remember this game last year, right? Bama and Georgia. This time, we're going to Samford. We're going to Georgia. Over under 52.5. This is a night game. SEC gets those when it's a big game, so good for them. Georgia at home, favored by 3 points. This game last year was absolutely insane. Potential game of the year candidate. And speaking of the home winning streaks we were just talking about, Washington, you know who's number one? Georgia. So this game is, I mean, it's a big one always. Man,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Kirby Smart 1-6 versus Bama in his career. This is going to be his first time playing Alabama at home. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. I did not know that.
They've been all
W6.
neutral. They've been all neutral site games, SEC championship games, neutral site games, or at Tuscaloosa. So this is going to be something Alabama hasn't faced in a while. Alabama does get Tim Keenan, one of their star defensive tackles, back. Their also star running back, Jam Miller, will be back. It's a big, big boost to them because they're going to need to get the run game going to have a chance. The one thing I will say, all of Alabama's losses recently have been away from home. Lost to Vandy, away from home. Lost to Florida State, away from home. Can DeBoer get these guys up for a tough road environment? We know Georgia's going to be rocking. We know those fans are hostile down there. I do want to give credit to Ty Simpson. He's been playing some great ball after a shaky game against Florida State. He's one of the better intermediate and deep ball throwers in the game. He has above 90 passing grades on intermediate 10 to 19 yard throws and 20-plus yard throws. Do want to shout him out for that. He's leveled up his game since a bad Florida State debut. I think C.J. Allen, the Georgia linebacker, he's a very elite to run defender, very sure tackler. He's going to help set the tone and get the W for Georgia here.
So I'm going to take Georgia as well, and at home. And we want to say this though, Stiggs. What's one thing reoccurring? I'm struggle to pick Bama until they fix this problem. A mobile quarterback has been their kryptonite, and Gunnar Stockton can run the ball if need be.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider him, a dual threat per se, but he's good enough to get that first down on third down. He's good enough to score a touchdown in the red zone, make a big, 15, 20-yard scamper. He's definitely mobile enough to do that. Yeah, so I think it'll be a factor.
Yeah. Fun fact for you: Gunnar Stockton only has one more passing touchdown than rushing touchdown so far in the year. Not that he's a rusher by any means, but like we said, it's the scrambling
Good
quarterbacks.
tidbit.
Bama struggles with them. They've struggled with them for the past couple years now. I'm not going to pick Bama in a really tough game like this until they prove to me that they can contain a scrambling quarterback. Chat comes in with Nick saying Georgia. I feel this is the easiest over ever. Watch me be dead wrong. And Chop says Vegas knows something. Yeah, the over-under on this game is 52.5. So, Bryce, what are you taking? I'm taking Georgia here. I'm going to take Georgia to go ahead and cover. I'll say they win by 4. Sorry, Trev. I wouldn't be surprised if Bama won, but at Georgia is just tough.
I'm taking Georgia. I find it very hard. I find it a very hard world to live in where Alabama comes and dominates this game. I seriously think Alabama has regressed. And to their point and to their credit, like you said, they've their quarterback's been good, and they've been coming back and playing a lot better since their week 1 opener against Florida State. But this is not the Alabama that we are used to seeing. Like, the fact that they are losing these games now, that we've never seen them lose before, and now they have to go on the road to Georgia, which, like Dave said, has not happened in Kirby Smart's tenure, and he's been there since 2017, 2016. I find it's very hard to believe that Alabama walks into that stadium and walks away with the victory. I think it could be a close game. I think it could be a blowout. I'm more leaning towards Georgia by 10 points in this game, so I'm going to take Georgia.
Yeah, not a bad pick. And Stiggs, I do want to point something out. It's not a flaw because that's a great stat that you said. but there is one thing I will always knock Georgia for, and it's their quote unquote air quote that all me, you, and Adam have all felt the wrath of, the neutral site game that ends up being in Atlanta.
Yeah. Yeah,
We
that's so annoying that they can keep getting away with that. Throttled Bo Nix on his Oregon debut. I'll never forgive Kirby for that.
It's all right. No Ruggles
Well, I
wide
agree.
left. I hate that. Adam felt it too in the Peach Bowl, but Nick comes in before we move on to the next game. Bama loses the penalty battle in 85% of their games. Their problems are deeper than a scrambling quarterback. I think that's a coaching issue at that point. If you're getting penalized that much, that's a great tidbit there.
Are we saying DeBoer got carried by a 6-year super senior quarterback and 3 NFL wide receivers at Washington? No.
Sounds like it.
That's what it sounded like. That's a good tidbit, Nicholas. I never really even knew that, but wow, that is a problem. All right, now we go to the game of the week. It's got to be the game of the week. Oregon at Penn State. This is the whiteout. One of the best environments and atmospheres in college football. This is a rematch of the Big Ten Championship last year. Currently, I got CBS Sports. Penn State at home minus 3.5 right now. Over under 51.5. But Stiggs, you wanna start us off here? Or should we go to Bryce? Let's go to Bryce since you will have more to say. I'm guessing here.
Sure.
My upset pick of the week was Oregon over Penn State. Like I said earlier, I kind of went on a little bit of a rant about it, but Oregon is just bigger, tougher, stronger, faster. They got some dudes everywhere. Literally every single position, you name it, they have a guy there in place, and they are ready to play the game. Like I said, I think this game will be more about Penn State's defense and slowing Oregon's offense down than anything else. If Penn State can slow the offense down and keep points off the board, essentially, they will have a chance to win this game. I don't think Penn State's offense is all that great. I think they're above average, but I don't think they're on Oregon's level. Their defense is going to be what has to keep them in this game. And this is truly Penn State's first real test as well. Like Oregon hasn't really played anybody, but neither has Penn State either. So this is the big game for both teams. And I do think Oregon's going to come away victorious in this game.
So I do want to point this out before you get going here, Dave. I want to say this. I did crunch the numbers and I did look it up. Penn State last 10 years in the Penn State whiteout is 9-1. Their lone loss was to Dwayne Haskins' Ohio State team by 1. It is definitely a different atmosphere. I will say that just from seeing those games. It's tough and they're favored for a reason. That's all I'm gonna put into it. Like I cannot say don't underrate the atmosphere as much as what I can because they do have a great record in this game.
Yeah, definitely not going to discount the atmosphere. I know Dante Moore has had some starts at UCLA, but he's never had a start that's going to be at this level, this magnitude, especially this early in the season, too. The spotlight is clearly going to be on Oregon and Penn State. I mean, I know Georgia and Alabama play, but come on, it's Oregon, Penn State.
Yeah.
But Alabama's already lost. But I'll start with Penn State just from what I see from them. So they have an edge rusher, Danny Dennis Sutton. He is a freaking monster. I remember seeing him when he was coming out, like his Twitter. Yeah. And I remember just seeing his build. Like, he's one of those dudes that you look at him and he was like, how is he that big? Like, he's all muscle. Yeah, he's rocked up at like 260 pounds, dude. And he's a freak athlete, and he has one of the highest pass rush grades on PFF at 91.5. He's got a good counterpart, Chaz Coleman, who also grades out very high with an 89.3 overall grade per PFF. The reason I highlight this is because Oregon's tackles are both transfers. We had a right tackle transfer from Texas State named Alex Harkey and a left tackle transfer from Nevada named Isaiah World. Now, Isaiah World's getting some first round propaganda on some of these mock drafts.
I'm familiar.
Yeah, he's 6'8", 318 pounds, very flexible young man at that size. I am worried, though, because his worry when he transferred to us was that he gets driven back. He gets driven back, and he doesn't set his base very well. These two dudes off the edge are both really strong. Really, really strong. Dennis Sutton in particular, I told you, he's just a freak athlete. He has a 93 88.3 rush grade. So he just gets in there and is a menace from the jump. He only has an 80 pass grade, but how PFF grades work, like a 60 is like average. A 60 is doing your job. So an 80 is really, really above average, like I would say borderline like all conference level. When you're getting 85, 90, that's like all American, Heisman hype stuff.
Yeah.
And they have two dudes that are both graded out overall above 88. That's going to be a problem. They always have good linebackers.
They do.
They
I
have
was
a
about
really
to say they have a great history of that position.
Yeah, and it's Tony Rojas who's leading the way for him this year. He is the next highest graded defender right behind those two edge rushers on the team. Really sure tackler, and honestly better in coverage than he is tackling. Their running backs, Katron Allen, Nicholas Singleton, everyone already knows about them, man. They are an elite duo, really good. Thunder and Lightning both are going to go to the NFL and have good careers, and they both gashed Oregon last year. So I'm interested to see how the Oregon run defense fares against these guys. We have a safety, Aaron Flowers. Everyone hypes up Dylan Thieneman. He was our transfer from Purdue.
Yep.
But the guy next to him, Aaron Flowers, has an 88.3 rush defense grade, and he has been immense in filling that hole from the safety, cleaning up, once that run, if it gets outside, he's getting there before the linebackers are getting there. So it's good to see. He's going to be a factor in this game. He wasn't even a penciled-in starter. We have another guy, Kingston Lopa, who had a great end of the year. We were all thinking he was going to be a shoe-in starter next to Dylan, but turns out Aaron Flowers might take that. And I also think Oregon's at a little disadvantage. It's a Penn State team that is at home. It's a whiteout. They're off a bye week. It's a lot that's going into this game against Oregon. And with all that being said, Dante Moore I don't think he's going to be phased. I don't think that he will be that phased, rather. I'm sure there'll be some, false starts, maybe a timeout, an ill-taken timeout that he doesn't want to take. But with all those matchups and stats being thrown out at you, this game's going to come down to Drew Aller. Always has, and it always will be, is can he take that next step? Can he make the throws necessary to help his team win the game? Because I don't think his defense and a strong rushing game is going to be enough against this Oregon. Fun fact, though, who was the last quarterback from Penn State taken in the first round of the draft? Any of you guys know?
Ooh. Hold on. Last Penn State quarterback taken in the first round.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Because Drew Aller is getting that hype.
The guy I'm thinking of, I don't remember if he went in the first round or not. And I know he made the NFL. Tell me, okay, this might be way off, and you're gonna be like, man, you're an idiot. Is Christian Hackenberg?
Nope, it's not him.
Okay, he went to the NFL, really?
Yeah, I believe he got drafted in like the third or fourth round of the Jets.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I remember him being on the NFL.
You guys might not even know this guy. This is ahead of your time. It's Kerry Collins in '95.
Yeah, he wasn't born yet. Yeah.
went to the Jags and played for the Giants. He was a pretty successful, like average quarterback. Started, backed up for a little bit. Fun fact about him, those Scholastic book fairs you go to at school back in the day?
Yeah.
There was a book that I bought when I was in like fourth grade, and it was called the Kerry Collins Playbook, and it was literally just like a dry erase board with like some football plays on it where you could write stuff. So I was like, I remember that, and I was like, hey, shout out Kerry Collins. He was a first rounder from Penn State. Drew Aller's trying to do the same. So,
yeah. So I do want to point this out here. I also took Oregon. Nick took Oregon. Chop took Oregon. You took Oregon. Bryce took Oregon. Adam took Penn State. He's the sole one on his picks. He did take Penn State. So I was, that. Adam's picks across the board, guys. Also, he didn't take UC. He took Kansas, LSU, Ohio State, Penn State, Georgia, USC, and A&M. He also said that there was he thinks he saw a better upset, and that's UCF is plus 6.5 against Kansas State. So that's the add-on to
Already picked,
buddy. You missed that.
I took him at TCU.
Speaking of chat, Nick says he takes Oregon because he trusts them to score more. Aller hasn't been effective in big games when they've been forced to be one-dimensional or pass in big moments. and he did fact check and send me the proof of it. Kalen DeBoer has lost the penalty battle in all 15 of his games coached at Alabama. That's crazy.
Sounds like
Coaching.
an undisciplined head coach.
Yeah, that's insane, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that honestly is insane. I'm glad Nick brought that up. That's a really good stat that I didn't know.
Yeah, he just sent me the proof of it too. Also with him watching the podcast, so that's great. Is there anything else we want
Legend.
to? Is there anything
Yeah,
else we want to
I'll
highlight?
I'll touch on what Nick said too. Drew Aller hasn't proven that he can make the plays and against Villanova.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm pretty sure the last time the dude threw for over 250 yards was in 2024 against USC, and that is probably the one game where I can look back at Drew Aller's Penn State career and say, "Hey, Drew Aller, you won Penn State that game."
Yeah.
He hasn't done that.
Yeah, he hasn't. He's getting the Carson Beck hype that we were saying, man, make this guy earn it before we start hyping him up. He hasn't done it. He has those flashes every once in a while. You know what I mean? Where it's just, oh man, that was a great NFL level throw, and then he'll have a couple that are, man, that's not JV level throw, or he folds under pressure a lot. It's just
Right. I still think he's
consistent.
gonna. I still think he'll get drafted pretty high just because of his tools. They love the tools. He's 6'6". He can move. He's got a rocket arm.
Yeah. I know we went a little bit late tonight. Shout out to you guys, Bryce and Stiggs and Adam, for sending us stuff in. I'm going to go ahead and get the graphic made. Hopefully send it out to either tomorrow or Friday. But thank you guys. Anybody else in the chat want to have anything to say? We went a little bit late tonight, but I might be seeing you, Stiggs. I'll be in touch. But thank you guys so much for watching and listening to the We Know Ball College Football Podcast. This is episode 5. We wouldn't be able to do it without you guys. Viewership's been great. You guys want to add anything in?
R.I.P. Gundy.
R.I.P. Gundy. I thought we were going to talk about it a little bit more.
Go MF and Ducks. Let's
Yeah.
get this big win done.
There
Let's
you go.
assert ourselves as a premier program and get it done. I really need it. I need it.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Another great show and great episode. We'll be